Well, the people have spoken, and y'all want nothing more than to see me tear ass in a Civic. All jokes aside, the Power Pack update video really got me thinking more about swaps. I wanted to put all motor versus all motor, as well as see if the original chassis was a better platform to begin with. Now, I'll save you some time here. This ain't gonna be some grind car, it's not gonna be some high horsepower bullshit. It's just, I'm bored. I wanted to tinker around with some cars, so that's what I'm doing. And you know what? I'm really glad I did because it was a lot of fun. These cars are a lot of fun. I guess it's because they're like the faster end of slow cars. You know what I'm saying? And the way I feel is, if you're working on racecraft, this is a great entry point to help get you there because you're building your speed, but you're still trying to get technical. And it being front wheel drive kind of lends to that argument because you kind of have to push pretty hard to get it beyond its own limits. So whether you're working on your racecraft or you already have the skills, it's just a fun car to drive. And another thing that these cars are helping me work on is my tuning and practicing tuning cars because you see, I feel like with road cars, when you're adding parts or you're making adjustments, you notice them more than with like a race car. And this gives me a better understanding of, how what I'm doing is affecting the vehicle. And since I don't have any friends, I gave Sophie the keys to the Integra just to see what she thought of it and maybe get in a race or two.
Damn, this male loneliness epidemic is really getting out of control.
Shut your damn mouth, Ronnie Chang. Anyways, more on that later. All right. Enough babbling. Let's get into it. We're going to start things off with the bare bones stock B16. All right. Hey, Polyphonic. Can we have a word? Is there any way I can get all this information in one place, please? Thank you. Not a whole lot to say here. I mean, it's a stock EG Civic. And that'll give us our baseline. All right, now we're going to give an ITR a proper go in a proper color. Even though this is longer and heavier, I think it'll produce the best time just because it's more track oriented. Not too shabby. All right, now let's see what a swapped EG can do. Yeah, I feel like these results are pretty expected, given that, same motor, but the platform's a little more garbage. Well, it was finally time to bolt on some goodies and give it a little tune. So, the fun part, basically. Now, before anyone says anything, I must have had my crack pipe a little too hot because I don't know why the Civics are that low in these pictures. They are definitely not that low when I was driving them. Promise. All right, what we got here, all motor built B16. No weight reductions, no diff, no transmission. Um, Semi-racing clutch, sport hard tires. Just kind of thinking street car, you know what I mean? Everything else pretty much bolted on. And I was real happy with those results. Huge gains, huge gains. And next up is the built Integra, aka Smurfette. Now, when I say built, I mean basically the same as the built EG, minus a few parts to keep the power and torque around the same. Yes, another nice improvement. Not as much because the car in its previous form was a little more track ready to begin with. All right, last up is the built EG. All right, with this one, I basically built it exactly the same as the Integra, except one change. I did add a transmission to try to get the ratios that the B18 has. And maybe somebody that's a little more fluent in transmissions can help me out with this one. I noticed that I set up the racing transmission exactly the same ratios as the Integra, but second through fifth gear, the top mile per hour is just like slightly off. And I really don't know why. And we end with a time that's a RCH off of the Integra time. So, like I said before, I wanted to have a few races with this car. And I'm sure you saw from the intro, I didn't do so hot a couple times. And to be honest, this isn't one of my favorite tracks. I just thought it looked kind of pretty, and I figured you all like pretty, so I drove it for you. You're welcome. But anyway, yeah, like I was saying, I was just driving it, and eventually I remembered something. It was around this moment when I heard the angelic voice of a fellow mestizo in my head. You see, back when this track first came to GT7, he said,
keeping the car under control, being a little bit more delicate on the steering wheel, being nice and clinical, not overdriving the car, and just really getting into a really nice groove. Working the car too much, braking it a bit too late, trying to be too perfect, trying to take everything dead right. And that isn't the way. Tone it down a little bit, be consistent first, and then build up the speed.
and so I did. I mean, who the hell am I to argue, right? This car really isn't that useful, to be honest, with regards to races. The only thing it's really qualified for is the Japanese Clubman Cup, the 550. And if you hit clean races through all 8 races, it'll more than enough pay for itself. So at least there's that. All right, folks, that about does it for this one. As always, keep it clean, keep two wheels on. Appreciate y'all hanging out. See you next time. Toodles.